Welcome, class of 2035. That's kind of hard to believe when you hear the graduating year of our incoming kindergartners. So welcome to you kindergartners, and welcome to our future kindergartners, and welcome to parents. I'm Principal Christensen. I'm the principal here at Lakeridge, and I'm joined tonight with my fearless crew, my associate principal, Mrs. Kelly, and our two kindergarten teachers, Mr. McGowan and Mrs. Reed, and they'll be talking to you a little bit later.
Good evening.
This evening. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. Parents, I believe the chat is enabled. So if you do want to put questions in the chat, that would be completely fine, and we'll do our best to get to everybody's questions at the end of our presentation tonight. All right. So with that, here is a welcome from our school district Deputy Superintendent, Dr. Fred Rundle.
Good evening and welcome to kindergarten enrollment night. My name is Fred Rundle. I'm the Deputy Superintendent of the Mercer Island School District. It's hard to believe, but I'm in the midst of my 13th year in our school district, which means that our current seniors, those ready to graduate in 2022 this spring, were kindergartners when I first entered the district. Your students, the incoming class of 2035, are set to embark on a journey that will help shape them and launch them into their futures. Welcome to all of you who are new families, and this is your first child coming into the Mercer Island School District, and welcome back to those of you with students already enrolled with us. Want to talk a little bit about the evening. After my welcome tonight, we will turn it back over to our school teams who will talk a little bit about the enrollment process, what you can expect from us between now and the start of school in the fall, as well as help answer any questions that you may have in preparing your children for their kindergarten experience. Our school district is rooted in 4 core values. At the heart and soul of that is the students themselves, and they are our priority. Our first value is remembering that all children are more than just one discrete aspect or another, and that we have to really think about educating the whole child socially, emotionally, academically, and physically. We're also focused on including and making sure that all students have access to the many services that we provide to help support them to flourish and grow and thrive and reach their potential. We want to make sure that our learning settings are safe and supportive of everyone, our staff, our students, our parent volunteers, so that we can maximize the learning process. And finally, making sure that our learning environments are rigorous and that they're meeting the needs of our students throughout each and every day. I'm thrilled to be able to welcome you to the Mercer Island School District, or welcome you back. It will go quickly, as I will have a senior in high school myself next year. My oldest will be heading in, and so it does go quickly. But we're here to support you and partner with you for the next 13 years to make sure that your child gets the very best out of their education. Have a great evening. Back to you, principals.
All right, thank you, Dr. Rundle, for that. I want to pause for just a minute and make sure everybody understands that we are recording tonight's presentation. I believe so. Principal Kelly, Assistant Principal Kelly.
Yes, it has been recording our beautiful lion video at the beginning.
Great. And then for everybody else in the screen, if I could get it just a quick sound check. Can everybody see and hear us okay? If you can give us some thumbs up and some nods.
Or even in the chat is fine.
Great. So with that, we will go ahead and move on, hopefully. All right.
Sounding yeses. Go right ahead, Principal Christensen.
Thank you. All right. So as Dr. Rundle already previewed for you, tonight we're going to talk about mission and goals, purpose, goals, and preparing for kindergarten. What we'll give you lots of information for the first day of kindergarten and what kindergartners learn. We have a short, sweet video about a day in kindergarten. We've got some information from Transportation Department about our PTA and our Schools Foundation. quite a bit of registration information, and then about WA Kids, which is basically a parent teacher student conferences coming up for you guys right before school starts. And then we'll have hopefully some time for a Q&A. All right, so I'm going to go over this one just a little bit quickly because Dr. Rundle already previewed it for us. So in Mercer Island schools, school districts, students are our priority, and that we really do live that every day in every one of our schools and classrooms, including kindergarten, especially maybe in kindergarten. Our values supporting the whole child, creating inclusive and equitable learning settings, ensuring our school communities are safe and supportive, which, as you all know, with COVID out there, that has become a top priority these days. And then providing rigorous and challenging learning for every student. Our vision is to inspire our students to be lifelong learners as they create their futures. And our mission is the district will foster learning by engaging students in thinking critically, solving problems creatively, and working collaboratively. And our phenomenal kindergarten teachers at Lakeridge and across the district are experts in doing all those high-level skills with our littlest lions. So onward. Little about Lakeridge specifically. So our Lakeridge motto, the Lakeridge way, is work hard, be kind. And we do encourage that and highlight that and promote that every day in our school. Our school-wide expectations, which are referred to as be the three oftentimes, and your students will see those in classrooms, in the hallways all through our school, are be safe, be respectful, and be responsible. A little more about Lakeridge here. Our mascot is a lion, obviously. It's Lucky the Lion. Our current enrollment is right around 385 students in grades K through 5. Our current kindergarten team are with us here tonight, Joby McGowan and Rebecca Reed. I, of course, am Heidi Christensen, the principal here at Lakeridge, and I already introduced Mrs. Kelly, our associate principal for Lakeridge and Northwood Elementary. And then not here tonight, but many of you probably already know or will get to know her dearly in the future, is our Youth and Family Services Counselor, Julie Matson. So next, I'm going to hand it off to Rebecca Reed.
Hi there, and welcome families. I am Rebecca Reed, and I have been teaching here at Lakeridge now for 5 years. So my colleague, Joby, and I, who have been teaching together now all of those 5 years, we'll just walk you through a little bit about what kindergarten looks like here at Lakeridge. So some of the broad goals that we have is creating an environment for success. Kindergarten is a very foundational year for both academics and for the social aspect of being in a community here at school. So those are both the things that we emphasize in our kindergarten year, and I'll let Joby talk a little bit more about that.
Well, there are 3 overarching themes in kindergarten, or purposes. They're academic, social, and emotional. And truly, there are a lot of foundational skills for your kids to learn in kindergarten, but primarily the most important component for us as teachers is to help them build a love for school and learning and build the foundation of what it's like to function in a school community, how to problem solve, how to get your needs and wants met, et cetera. And you can read the slide there for some specifics, but really, truly, our job is to help your kids acclimate in those 3 umbrella areas and to start them off with high success for their elementary years.
And Mr. McGowan, I can see they will quickly learn how to turn the lights back on in classrooms as yours turned off, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, our lights, for everyone who doesn't know, are on sensors, motion sensors. So they'll oftentimes turn off if they're not sensing any motion. All right.
Okay, so digging into a little bit more about what the academic component looks like. All of the grades at our school, including kindergarten, follow the Common Core standards, which is a state adopted set of standards that outline some of the skills that we work on throughout the year. And that guides a lot of our work. And if you're curious about what that looks like, you can find those easily online if you look up Common Core standards for kindergarten. But we do acknowledge that kindergartners come in at all different levels. It's a fun year in that way. So there's a spectrum, and it's our job as kindergarten teachers to meet your child where they are at. So they don't have to be at a particular point. And wherever they come in, whether they're just at the beginning of their foundational skills or whether they're a little bit above that, our job is to meet them where they're at, to keep them moving along up that continuum. And looping back to the importance of social skills, the fall trimester, we do not do academic report cards, though we are doing a lot of academic work. And the purpose of this is to emphasize the importance of building community and working on social skills that first trimester of kindergarten. That's a lot of our work all year, but especially in that first trimester, so that they learn how to be a student and a member of the community.
Okay, so how do you get your kids ready for that first day of kindergarten? You can start thinking about that now. And there are some things that are really, we want to encourage you to put at the top of your priority list. And they're the first three things that are listed there: toileting, eating, and dressing. The most independence that your children will need to draw on are in those categories. We don't go in the restroom with kids, we don't feed kids, and we aren't helping them change clothes and dress. So if that's something you could make a priority for them to be able to do independently, we would of course appreciate it. How do you prepare your kids to separate in the fall when it's time to come to kindergarten? Really truly start practicing some routines. You can practice saying goodbye at your own door with a high five, a handshake, an elbow bump, any kind of a routine that will be predictable for them, so that they'll know that that's something that you're going to implement when you bring them to kindergarten. Can help predict or help set some predictability for them and help them build some comfort with separating from you. And for many of you, your kids have no problem separating, but that could be an issue for some folks. We have something in here about building stamina for school in the fall. It's a long day, and you'll see that your kids will probably come home and just be cranky or tired, or as we call hangry, they're hungry. So just be mindful of what you sign your kids up for in the fall, just because we want them to be able to not only enjoy school, but to have high success without a lot of competing interests for their time, if that makes sense. There are very few academic expectations for your kids when they roll into kindergarten. It is not the expectation that they come here knowing how to read or to do any of those other academic components. We really truly take them where they are, we'll assess them and find out what they know, and then develop a plan for what each child needs and take them as far as we can. And socially, there are some things that you might choose to do with your kids this summer. Our PTA hosts some summer playdates on the playground, and you can access their information on their website, and we'll talk about the PTA in just a few minutes. You can bring your child to the playground anytime that school is not in session and look in the windows and peek in and see what it looks like. You can play on the playground and just make that part of your summer routine, or even starting now, just to get them familiar with the school. And then the last thing is, if you happen to know any other kids that are going to be coming to Lakeridge and you feel comfortable having a play date even outside over the summer, maybe start building some of those friendships. All those are just some suggestions or ideas that you may choose to implement to help your child have some success starting school in the fall.
Okay, and then in terms of getting ready for learning, again, just like Joby said, there's no expectation that they need to be at a certain point when they enter kindergarten. However, some ideas about what you might be doing just to get your kids in the right direction as they come towards kindergarten. You can make sure that you're having conversations with students or with your children, and talking, having conversations where they're practicing their oral language skills, playing games where they're practicing those social components of taking turns, sharing, following rules, reading to your child. Again, they don't have to be able to read independently. Just reading with you is a great routine to start building, and any exposure they have to numbers, letters, and words helps as well. Checking on things like their pencil grip is a good place to start. But again, we attend to all of that once they come into kindergarten. And any opportunities you have to talk with your child about school and what your experience might be like or might have been like, and what siblings' experiences might have been like, or what they could be expecting, and building that excitement for them as you get ready for kindergarten. And definitely just loving on them, making sure they're supported. And again, we'll handle all the academics with your support, of course, but they need you and your support at home. And that's the best thing you can do for them.
We have a short video to show you. I think it's about 2.5 minutes that just shows an overview of what a day in kindergarten looks like. And the kids in this video are now in 5th grade, so it's several years old, but it'll just give you a little taste of what the day looks like. And just remember, this video was pre-COVID, so you're going to see kids at tables and in other ways that aren't necessarily being implemented now, but it'll give you a flavor for what it looks like. Heidi, if you want to push play, that'd be great.
I think this might be my favorite moment of the kindergarten information night, watching all those kids and thinking about them now. So thank you for that, Mr. McGowan. Oh, I guess we're playing it again. Let's not do that. There we go.
All right, so mid to late March, you should receive some communication about something called Spring into Kindergarten, and it will be via Zoom this year. And all it will be is about 30 minutes where we'll invite you to bring your incoming kindergartner online to Zoom. We'll have a story, we'll engage in some conversation with them just to lay eyes on them before they come to school in the fall. And that will just help us begin to get to know the kids and to kind of see how they interact and what they're like, so that that can help us gather some information as we build classes for the fall. There's nothing that you need to do to prepare for it. And we look forward to meeting them, I guess is what I want to say. So maybe mid to late March, you should receive something via email inviting you to that Spring into Kindergarten event.
Yeah, and just a little side note on this, you do have to be enrolled for us to know that you're coming, so that we can invite you to that. So we're gonna encourage you to start that enrollment process a little bit later in our presentation, but it is important before this.
And Heidi, can I jump in and say enrollment early, even if you're still trying to determine your child's status for next year, whether they spend another year in preschool or whatnot, we always encourage early enrollment. When we know our numbers early on, it helps us a whole lot.
And you can always change your mind later, I think. Okay. All right, Rebecca.
All right, so something else to kind of have on your radar is that the first 3 days of kindergarten are set aside for kindergarten conferences. There is a state mandate that allows us to do this, which is actually a great opportunity. It's a chance for teachers to meet your child as well as their family, parents. And we get a chance to talk and they get a chance to see the classroom. We walk them around the school. They get a chance to meet their teacher. And it really does help with that transition into kindergarten, and students feel a lot more comfortable on the first day of kindergarten. So it's a great opportunity. And you will be receiving information about that in August, along with a welcome letter from your student's teacher. So let's see, the grades 1 through 12 will start on Wednesday, August 31st, and we will use that day as well as the 2 days that follow to do our conferences. And then kindergartners will start the following week on September 6th.
All right, thank you. Yeah, and just to reiterate for those of you that have older siblings, 1st through 12th grade starts on August 31st on that Wednesday. Kindergarten's first day of school, because we're doing conferences those first 3 days, is that Tuesday, September 6th. Okay, so I am going to try to do a few of these slides from transportation tonight. Normally I've got my kind of right-hand man, office manager and administrative assistant extraordinaire, Mrs. Goldner, Carrie Goldner, as many of you know, here to kind of tag team these next few slides with me, but she unfortunately couldn't be here tonight, but she will be in the office to answer all of your questions in the future. So feel free to give her a call. All right, so transportation. So school bus transportation is available to all on-island students living beyond 1 mile of the schools. So or 1 walking mile of their home school, excuse me. So if you are outside of that 1 mile zone, you can reach out to the transportation department with any questions. For complete contact information, visit their district website. You can just go to the Mercer Island Home website and navigate to transportation, and they do have all of the information you could ever want and a ton of contact info on their website. So do make sure to visit that. In August, you'll receive a letter from your teachers with bus assignments, bus assignment information. Our district policy, and this is kind of a key one for everybody here, is our district policy is that all kindergartners must be met at their bus stop by an authorized adult. So our bus drivers won't let them off the bus if there's not an adult there to greet them, which is really just a lot of benefit, I think, to our students. Our bus drivers really get to know the students and know you and your families well, and keep them very safe. All right, so, and then last, students aren't allowed to take a bus other than their own bus without a parent note. And we do need to get that note before about 3 o'clock every day, because if we don't have that before 3:15, things are too busy and parts are moving pretty fast at the end of the day. And oftentimes we can't get them a bus pass or get it to them before they get on the bus or so forth. So do try to get us that information as early as possible. Okay. Kindergartners will have a tag on their backpacks that say I think just their go home plan, their bus number, or whether they're a walker and that kind of thing. Kindergartners generally sit at the front of the bus. We highly encourage bus riding from day 1, going back to what Joby shared with getting ready for the first day of school. It really does make it easier if they start on the first day. And just build that habit right away. And honestly, a lot of kindergartners are excited on that first day's bus ride, and you guys are all welcome to follow the buses and, you know, get here before the buses do and take pictures out front of the school as your child gets off the bus. That's kind of a tradition for kindergarten that we want to invite you to. All right, and then one last reminder on our daily schedule. Wednesdays, every Wednesday is a 2:05 early release. So kids get out, are dismissed at 2:05 p.m. every single Wednesday of the school year, even the first day of school. So, well, I guess that's not for you guys. It's first day of school for 1st through 12th. All right. So, some before and after school programs to share with you, and there's contact information on this slide that you can access. We will be posting these slides and this information on our Lakeridge website, as well as the district website, where you probably got the link for this evening. So Innovation Learning, they are before and after school program. They are housed at Lakeridge, but they are a private entity. So they are not a Lakeridge or a school district agency. So you can visit their innovationlearning.com and navigate to find Lakeridge. There's a find your school button up at the top. So you just find that. It's real easy, and they'll give you all that information there. You can find it all. And then of course we have the Boys and Girls Club. One note with the Boys and Girls Club is we do have a school bus that's available to pick them up in the mornings and bring them to school, and then get them back to Boys and Girls Club in the afternoons. And the same is true for the JCC, the Jewish Community Center. There's a school bus to and from JCC available. All right, so I'm going to go through this one. These are pretty wordy slides, and all of this can be found online at the district website. So from the nurse's office, your child's health and wellness, of course, is very important to us. Effective for the 2022-2023 school year, so next school year, all completed, you must have a completed certificate of immunization status, CIS form, and they must be medically verified on or before the first day of attendance. So by law, we're not supposed to let your kids come to school if we don't have this certificate in hand. Okay, so there's a lot of medically verified options, including a printed form from the Washington Immunization Information System, or printed from MyIR. If completing by hand, it has to have a variety of signatures. You can apply for a certificate of exemption, initiation of a schedule towards full immunization. So if you have any trouble with this, give Carrie Goldner in the office a call, or give our school nurse, Rachel Hitchcock, a call, and we can walk you through that. All right, so emergency care plans. These are essential if your child has a life-threatening condition, or even a moderately life-threatening condition. So we do by law have to have an emergency care plan filed for them. The school nurse will work with you. You just have to let us know that we need to get one of those initiated. She'll work with you in August before school starts. If there is a life-threatening allergy or asthma, it's required to keep your medications on hand in the health year prior to your child's first day of school. And that's every year. So by law, we're really supposed to have inhalers and EpiPens and those kinds of things, current ones, not expired ones, at the school before your child is here. That's just so we can keep them safe. And then we send all of that home at the end of the year. And then it needs to be brought back for the start of the next school year. So it is a little bit of extra steps, especially for some of our milder allergies and asthma and that kind of thing, but we do need that from you before your child comes here. So, and then anytime medication is given at school, and I'm going to spend just a minute on this, because medication is an aspirin, an ibuprofen, it's technically a cough drop kind of thing. Any time we give medication at school, we have to have a medication authorization form and a MAR or MAF, I can't remember, form that's signed by you and the child's physician. Medications that are distributed at school have to be in the original container from the pharmacy. Both the form and medication have to be brought to the school's the nurse's office by authorized adults. Please don't send medication in with your child. They're not really supposed to be carrying any medications while they're here at school. So that's the final note. We don't allow elementary students to carry their own medications. Now, we're not going to be marching out and looking for that rogue cough drop here and there, but I just shared that with you so you know it really is, you know, if we were going to rigidly adhere to the rules, it's every bit of medication, because it's very common for folks to call us and ask if, you know, if Heidi can take her allergy medication at school today, and we have to say no and explain the rules to them. So, all right. So next.
Okay, so we're just going to chat briefly about our PTA. We're down to the last 7 slides. Thank you for holding in there. We're almost done. Our PTA is our Parent Teacher Association, and they provide all kinds of resources for our students and for families. So one of the ways to find out about them is to pop on their website, lakeridgepta.org. And you'll be able to register as a parent once you've registered your kindergarten child, and that's how you will be able to receive lots of information about ways that you can be involved. And they have a newsletter called The Roar, where they send out all kinds of opportunities and ways for you to get involved and options to volunteer and what have you. And they will also be able to communicate with you with those summer kindergarten play dates that we had talked about earlier, that if you are in town and feel like bringing your kids over to school to meet other incoming kindergartners, you'll be able to do so.
Yeah, and one quick side note, we as the school can't give your name and contact information to the PTA. That's a confidentiality problem. But you can contact them all day long. And I really encourage you to get connected with the PTA, because they also do all of our evening events, family events. There's lots of volunteering opportunities and so forth. And the Roar is a really valuable resource for you guys. Oh, did that change? No.
Nope. And then, oh, go ahead.
Did I skip a slide?
It's fine. No, there we go. Okay, just that our PTA is a nonprofit organization made up of all of you and all of the staff, and then of course your children. And there are different levels involved with the PTA, your council, state and national PTA. And then you can see what our goal is to support the students and the families through all of those things: fundraising, volunteering, the enrichment programs that will be provided to your students based on the funding that is raised. There are special events in the evenings and online, and then just advocacy for education in general at the state and national level.
Yeah, and we do have a district-wide PTA council that's very active on the advocacy front as well, that you can get connected with.
Okay, we also want to highlight the Mercer Island Schools Foundation, which provides opportunities to support and enhance what we do here at Mercer Island. The executive director is Tammy Shoup, and there are 16 board members from the community. And a couple of the opportunities to contribute is, let me get in the light here, the Breakfast of Champions in the spring and the Phonathon in the fall. And so the Mercer Island Schools Foundation funds curriculum, funds enrichment opportunities, and teacher projects and grants. So it's an important part of our district.
Thank you. Okay, we're down to the nuts and bolts of the evening. So getting registered. Register early. We've said that a few times, but I'm going to repeat it one more time. Register early, register early, register early. It helps us plan and staff our school with the necessary teachers and paraeducators. Registration starts tomorrow. It always opens in this district after the kindergarten information night. It's all online. You can refer to tonight's slide deck and district websites that I'm going to share with you in just a minute for online registration instructions. We do have this form. It's a parent information form. It won't be pushed out to Well, it might be pushed out to you if you get enrolled before the first 2 weeks of May, but it's called the Special Considerations for Student Placement. And it is our only opportunity to collect parent input as far as building our classes for the next year. And like I said, the window for that is generally the first 2 weeks of May. And then you will find out your teacher assignments in late August. Generally speaking, it's kind of the last Friday before we start school, but I think kindergarten teachers, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you send out your kindergarten packet a little ahead of that. Yeah, because we have to get the WA Kids conferences scheduled and that kind of thing. So our newest Lions get a early look at who their teacher will be. All right, so how to register, and usually Carrie, again, Mrs. Goldner is walking through these slides. So forgive me if I misspeak. I'm going to do the best I can, but she is truly our expert. So step 1, go to the Mercer Island School District homepage. Step 2, find this Families tab that you can see right over here. And then from that table of contents, the directory that pops up, click on New Families enrollment information, or we have a new site, this kindergarten registration for 2022-2023. They both have the same information. I kind of like this kindergarten registration landing page a little bit better because it's focused just on kindergarten. So navigate to either one of those and then find this sentence, new families. To begin registering, click on the online enrollment process starting January 26th, 2022. And that will take you to our enrollment, our online enrollment. Registration forms. So there are several forms you need to do, and those 2 landing pages give you all the details on what forms we need. The one thing we need to make clear is that you do have to complete a full enrollment, including all of the proof of residency for your kindergartner. Even if you have older children, you are creating a whole brand new enrollment application package, if you will. And so you do have to provide us with the proof of residency forms and all of those kinds of things. Again, I guess if you've got older students. So again, visit those 2 district pages that I mentioned. These are linked so that when we post the slide deck, hopefully you'll be able to link on those there, but they're pretty easy to find if you just get to the Families tab. Okay, more kindergarten registration. So only the complete online registrations will be processed. So we cannot enroll your students until we have all of that documentation, until the process is completed. And getting to that stage of finalizing the enrollment is really important because it triggers, it kind of puts you on our radar more formally so that we can make sure to get you all the information you need. And it does really help us in planning for next year. And again, like Mrs. Kelly said earlier, if you do enroll and you change your mind, there's no problem with that. We can work around that, and we will work with you if we know you're coming. So, and we're happy to do that. All right, so submitted registration forms will be processed within 2 weeks. You'll receive a confirmation email when it's been all processed. And just a side note, registrar's offices are closed most of July and sometimes into the first week of August. So register early because they won't be available to assist you this summer. All right. Hey, we made it. We made it to the Q&A portion of this evening. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. And as I do, Mr. McGowan, Mrs. Reed, Mrs. Kelly, do any of you have anything to add?
No, I'm happy to hand any questions or information in the chat off to our Lakeridge crew here tonight. So, and of course, if you have any further questions, Carrie is a great resource for all things that are specific to registration and anything Lakeridge specific. If you have any questions about your individual children, reach out to her and she can guide you to the right place.
Yeah. And parents, you're welcome to unmute and just throw out questions. You don't even have to turn your camera on if you don't want to. We'll give it just a few more minutes or throw a question in the chat. And of course, you know, we didn't touch on a lot, but of course, all of this presentation is predicated on a typical school year for the most part. And I think we've all got our fingers and toes crossed for a more typical school year next year. But we will keep you informed and updated, and feel free to ask questions about you know, COVID mitigation, that kind of thing. We're happy to chat with you about that as well. Okay. Well, I don't see anybody unmuting or any hands being raised. So with that, I'm going to wish you all a really great evening and encourage you all, get those enrollments started as soon as you can, and give us a call at Lakeridge's front office if you have any questions. 206-235 236, excuse me, 3415, I think is our main line. And with that, everybody have a really great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie.
Ms. Christensen, do you send the slides? They'll be on our website.
Yeah.
For those of you who are still listening.
Yep.
The Lakeridge specific.
Thanks, everybody. Looking forward to next year. Go Lions.